A good moed. We are learning Mishna Kiddushin, Perek Beis, Chapter 2, Mishna Gimel, Mishnah 3. So this Mishnah is a continuation of the of similar cases that we had before about when the man makes Kiddushin, he tells the woman specific details about, he's marrying her based on these precise details that he gives her, and it comes out that it's not true. So now we have an example like this. Amanashani Kayin V'Nimtza Levi. He tells her, I'm being a Kaddish on the condition that I am a Kohen, meaning he's letting her know, I'm a Kohen, because I'm a Kohen, that's why you should want to marry me. And based on that, she's accepting the Kiddushin on the fact that he's a Kohen. It's this detail that makes it that he made this a very precise detail about the Kiddushin, saying it's on the condition I'm a Kohen, and she accepted that. And then it's a Levi, and it comes up being a Levi. Now, even though a Kohen is more prestigious than a Levi, nonetheless, that we're going to see that it's still considered that it's a mistake, meaning he tricked her, and therefore the Kiddushin is not a good Kiddushin, because when a person sometimes is very miyuchas, very, his lineage, his pedigree is very high, becomes arrogant. And she's afraid that, so again, in this case, the first case was, I'm a Kohen, he comes up being a Levi, all right? He told her he's on a higher level, and he comes up being on a lower level. Levi v'nimtza Kohen, next case. He said on condition, I'm a Levi, and he's really a Kohen. So there, the problem is the fact that, because really he is of a higher pedigree, of a higher significance, she can be concerned that he's going to be arrogant because of that. And therefore, when he says, I'm a Levi, she accepted the Kiddushin because she's a Levi and would not have accepted if he's a Kohen. Or another example, Nasin v'nimtza mamzer, mamzer v'nimtza nasin. Let's say he sat around the condition that I'm in a sin, and he comes up being a mamzer. So what's a nasin? So I'll read here from the notes. A nasin is a descendant of the Gevonim, which were a group of Canaanites who tricked Yoshua into making a peace treaty with them. And this is depicted in the book of Sefer Yoshua. Now, although they converted to Judaism, Yoshua forbade ordinary Jews to marry them during the times that the Beis HaMikdash was standing. Later, because of their cruelty towards King Shaul's children, David HaMelech, King David, extended the prohibition to their descendants for all time. So an asin is someone who is a descendant of these people, and someone that it's been decreed upon them they cannot marry a regular Jew. A mamzer is what we know. A mamzer is a child that's born from a forbidden union that is punishable by kares, by premature death, or from a parent who is a mamzer or mamzeres. And here the Torah forbids a mamzer or mamzeres to marry a regular Jew. Okay, now in this case, when he's being Kiddushin on her, he said, on the condition I'm in a sin. Now, why would he, that's an interesting condition. But the point is that we're talking about a woman who's permitted to marry either a mamzer or a sin. She's allowed to marry him, okay? And therefore, maybe she herself is a mamzeres, or she herself is in a sin. And they can they can marry each other. So when he goes to this woman, he tells her, on the condition I'm in a sin. Okay, v'nimitza mamzer, and it comes to being a mamzer. Or he said, on condition I'm a mamzer, and it comes up being in a sin. Now, what's the issue here? Again, we're saying that it's going to be a mistake. There's a mistake here. He said that this is what he is when he's making the Kiddushin on her. It comes to not being that way. Why should she care either way? Why should either way make a difference? So, they explain here, a mamzer is considered somewhat more distinguished than an asin, because a mamzer is of Jewish descent, whereas an asin comes from the Canaanites. So again, if she has to marry someone that's not, as we say, a regular Jewish person, and so there could be a difference to her as to that if she'd rather have a mamzer than a sin, because a mamzer is somewhat more distinguished because his lineage is Jewish. I mean, the sin is officially Jewish too, but at the end of the day, they descend from the Canaanites. Therefore, they're not as even low. They're not as distinguished as a mamzer may be as undistinguished that a mamzer may be, nonetheless, they are coming from Jewish descent, and therefore they're considered more distinguished. And therefore, if he says to her, on the condition that I'm a mamzer, and he comes to being in a sin, which you might say, what's the difference? The difference is because a mamzer is considered more distinguished, and that's what she agreed to. Now, for this reason, a woman might prefer a mamzer. On the other hand, she might prefer a sin because being less important, he'll be less arrogant. Meaning, again, she may want someone that's on a lower level of prestige because, like this, he'll be more humble. He'll treat her. He won't be arrogant towards her. So therefore, either way, we can understand that when he specifies what he is, when he makes the Kiddushin, that this is what she is particular about, and this is what she agreed to. Next case. Ben Ir v'nimtza ben krach. Ben krach v'nimtza ben Ir. He says to her, on the condition, I'm the son of a city. That means I'm come from a small town. I'm a small town guy. And he comes out, he lives in a krach, in a big city. So when he told her, made a Kiddushin, he said, on the condition that I'm a small town fellow. Which means that where are they going to live? He's telling her, where are they going to live when they get married? In the small town. And it comes out that really, he comes from a big city. And which means that's where they're going to live. So her presumption when she was making the Kiddushin was, they're going to live in a small town, which is what he told her. And it comes out, no, it's not going to be in a big town. Or, let's say he went ahead and he said to her that on the condition that I live in a big town, and it comes out he lives in a small town. Here again, the fact that he specified these things and she agreed to that specific detail is going to be a reason to say the condition was a mistake, because she could prefer a small town because a small town is less crowded, cost of living is not as much, more crowded in the big city. Big city is more expensive. At the same time, if you live in the big city, you got your pizza shop and you got your butcher and you got all your stuff. You got all the goods that a person may want are much more available in the big city than in the small town. So either one has its advantage, and therefore, if whichever one he details, and he says on the condition, I'm making the condition, I'm making, meaning basically he's trying to convince her to get to marry him, and he's saying on the condition, I'm a small town guy. And it comes in, it's not that way. She agreed to the Kiddushin that he was a small town guy, and it's not that way. She can say it's a mistake. So we assume it's a mistake. Or the other way around. She wanted to live in the big city, and he lives in the small city. And he told her that he's a big city guy, which means in fact they're going to live there. That's what he said when he made the Kiddushin. That was the detail that she agreed to. And therefore, it's not that way. It's a mistake. Or next case. On the condition that my home is close to the bathhouse and it comes up being far, or it's far and it comes up being close. Now, the thing is, if you live close to the bathhouse, you don't got to schlep as far. If you live too close to the bathhouse, the air is not good. All the heat and everything that comes from the bathhouse makes it uncomfortable to live nearby. So again, each one has its advantage. If he tells her one, if he specifies this when he makes the Kiddushin with her, and clearly this is something that he's trying to tell her, this is what I am, and this is what she agrees to, and it comes out not that way, it's going to be a mistake. Next case. On the condition that I have a daughter or a maidservant that are gadelas, they know how to braid hair. The ainloi, and really he doesn't. Or on the condition I don't have a daughter like that, I don't have a maidservant like that. The Yeshloi really does have. There again, there is advantages either way. If the daughter or the maidservant can braid hair, it means extra income into the house. If, on the other hand, having such a person in the house means that when she deals with her customers and braids their hair, there could be a lot of gossip going on. And the daughter, who it's not her mother, and the maidservant, this is the new wife, this is an opportunity for them to spread bad things about them. So either way, there could be a reason why she would want it or not want it. So again, depending on what he told her, that the condition that he made with her is going to make a difference as to whether we consider it a mistake or not. Next case. Amanas she'ein li banim v'yeshloi. On the condition that I have no children, no sons, and he does have. Amanas she'yesh li v'ein loi. Or on the condition that I do have and he doesn't have. So here we have children, like he says, I have children. On the condition I have children, right? Mekadosh condition I have children, which means to say in all these cases, this is something that the assumption is she cares about it, makes a difference to her, and he's speaking it out. This is the way it is. I'm marrying you on the condition, I'm letting you know I have no children, or I do have children, and it comes out the opposite. Now, having children is an advantage because they can help out around the house. The disadvantage is they might not accept her. Okay, and that could interfere with the relationship between the couple, between the man and his new wife, and therefore, again, whichever condition he set out when he made the Kiddushin is going to be the assumption. It was going to be, this is the basis for why she agreed. This was a basis for her agreeing to the Kiddushin, and if it's not that way, it's not going to work. And the Mishnah is just continuing from it said before, which we knew before. We say Eina Mekudeshes. Doesn't say the words are Eina Mekudeshes, but it's a continuation from before. In all these cases, if basically he said one thing and it wasn't that way, wasn't true, we consider it a mistake, and there's no Kiddushin. Now, the Mishnah concludes here, let's say after it comes out that it's not true what he says, she says, you know what? I really meant to agree to Kiddushin no matter what. So he said a condition. She agreed. So she didn't say no, I don't care when it happened. What happened, she remained silent. That is the fact that she remained silent is an act of agreement. We see an agreement. We don't see something else. We don't see maybe. We see an agreement. Now, so when she goes over and she says afterwards, in my heart, I didn't care. Meaning from the outside, we had no way of knowing this. But she says, in my heart, inside, I didn't care. No matter what, I would agree to Kiddushin. Eina Mekudeshes. Nonetheless, she is not Mekudeshes. Because when you're talking, a person's unspoken thoughts cannot change something that was spoken out loud. Since the man said the Kiddushin depends on a specific detail and she apparently agreed, her unspoken thoughts cannot change that. That means to say, this is called Devar Mishabalev, words in your heart. If there is an act that's done, and the way the act is done, it's understood in one way. And now you want to say, but I was thinking otherwise. What you thought otherwise cannot undo the act that was done. So he made the condition specifically with he made a Kiddushin with the condition, of the examples we said before. And she approved. Whether she said yes or whatever, she approved. She took the Kiddushin. That was an act. This is an act of Kiddushin based on specific conditions. If she goes otherwise and says, I was really thinking in my mind, I don't care. Her thoughts cannot undo the act. And therefore, she's Eina Mekudeshes. Now, if before she accepted the Kiddushin, she said she accepts it no matter what, the Kiddushin is valid. And that's Pashut. If he says on the Kiddushin I'm a Kohen, she says, I don't care. So then she said she didn't care. So even if he's not a Kohen, she said she didn't care. But in the case, she said it afterwards. She didn't say it at the time of the Kiddushin. She said it later on. Mm-hmm. And therefore, that constitutes what we call the Bar Mishabalev. Words in the heart, matters in the heart, unspoken words. And therefore, at the end of the day, she's not Mekudeshes. The same thing would apply in all the examples we have until now is where he tricked her. The same would apply if she tricked or misled him. Mm-hmm. There too, if she said, on the condition that my father's a Kohen, right? And he said, okay, that means he's agreeing to the condition that she's the daughter of a Kohen. Mm-hmm. And if it comes out not that way, that means she misled him. The Kiddushin is considered it was a Kiddushin Toyos. It was false. It was a Kiddushin under false pretenses, and the Kiddushin is not going to be good. Have a wonderful day. A good night.
A good night.